This is Karen Spear Ellenwood. I'm the Director of Faculty Instructional Development for the College of Medicine in Tucson. This guide is to help you create materials for student self-managed learning. This might be for a flipped classroom session or self-directed learning experience. The focus is on using tools that are already familiar to you, in this case, PowerPoint and your own smartphone. While assessment is an important part of flipped classroom sessions and self-directed learning, there'll be another guide to assist you in incorporating assessment into that process. Let's get started. There are 6 easy steps. First of all, in this guide, we're going to focus on using PowerPoint and your own smartphone. First, select a presentation template. Second, make sure you keep the text brief. 3, only focus on key concepts that you feel students really need to understand, either as part of their self-directed learning or in order to participate in the activities you have scheduled for a particular session. 4, be as visual as possible. 5, add narration to the presentation, much like I'm doing here, so that you can keep the text to a minimum on the screen, but then explain what it means. 6, select your Save As format, and there are a variety of formats to choose from. Number 1, select a clean template. 2 things really to think about here. One is what it looks like on the screen while you're creating the presentation and what it's going to look like to your users or learners. Background color is very important. You want to make sure it's white, light gray, light blue, some kind of a cool and light color. Don't use gradients because that does become distracting and may be interpreted differently by different devices. So it might look great on your screen and not look great on the learner's screen. Make sure the font color is high contrast with that. So here the example given is if you're going to use white or light gray or light blue, use black, charcoal gray, or navy, or U of A blue works perfectly. With font size, you want to make sure, as you see here on this screen, that your heading sizes are between 18 and 24, and your paragraph text is between 18 and 20 point. When you're doing a presentation for large screen projection, it should never be less than 24, because a presentation like this is really intended for a single person audience and likely to be displayed on a smaller screen. You can get away with using smaller font. But in the end, you want to test it on multiple devices to make sure it works. Number 2, keep text brief. It's fine to use quotes, but keep them short. Number your references rather than put the entire reference on the screen, and then list your numbered references at the end of the presentation. You can also add hyperlinks to additional resources that learners can go to for more detailed description or examples of the kinds of things you're talking about. How do you create a hyperlink? Well, you select the object, then press Control or Command if you're on a Mac, and the letter K brings up a dialog window. Go to the browser, right-click on the address, press Copy, go back to the address bar in the dialog window, right-click, press Paste, and press OK, and you're done. You can do the same for hyperlinks. So you select the text you want to add the hyperlink to, Control or Command K, paste the hyperlink, select OK. It's that easy. So your pre-session or self-directed learning materials should also have learning objectives. If you have multiple learning objectives and or are addressing multiple topics, and each topic spans more than 10 slides, then you need to consider either trimming that content, or if you can't, then you should consider creating one presentation per topic or learning objective. The goal is to be focused and comprehensible. Number 4, be as visual as possible. This means you're going to add graphics where graphics can take the place of words. You might use anatomical illustrations or other types of images. You can also insert charts that indicate data or data trends, video or audio, and you can also insert pictures from online and screenshots, as well as screen recordings, which you saw on the Einstein slide earlier. You may use animations if you'd like, or use transitions. You can even add voiceover narration, as I've done here. It's easy to do. You don't need special technology. You can use your own smartphone. I think it's best to use a wired phone mic. The one that came with your smartphone is fine. You don't need a special expensive mic to do it. You can see on the lower left of this screen, it's easy to then insert that audio. If you save it to your box folder or a Dropbox, then it'll be available on the device that you're creating the presentation. And then you simply go to the Insert menu in PowerPoint, click on Audio, and then select Audio on my PC. Once you've got your audio file inserted, click the icon and go to the Playback tools above. The default is for the audio to play on click. You want to change that to automatically, since you won't be there to click it for the students. Also click Hide During Show so the icon is not displayed in your playback presentation. If you have animations on images or text, which as you see we do here, make sure they play automatically as well. Go back to your audio icon playback, click Play in Background, and unclick Loop until stopped. This will ensure that animations, video recordings will play at the same time as your audio recording. Finally, 6, select your Save As format. For all the formats you see here, they are viewable across platforms. That means on a Mac or a PC. You can use various apps or software. Some of them are limited. PowerPoint files are openable in a PowerPoint or KeyPoint software. All these formats allow for learner control. That is, they can start and stop at any time. In terms of effort, the PDF requires the greatest effort, simply because when you create it, you have to open it in Adobe DC or Adobe Pro and re-embed or add links to your media files. That's your audio content, your videos, including screen captures, and so on. The least amount of effort is what you see here, the PowerPoint presentation file and PowerPoint file. And the movie file, like the one I've created, doesn't really require that much more effort. As I've showed you in this guide, you do have to create playback settings, but they don't take that long. If you want to create links to outside content, those links are not clickable in an MP4 format, but you can use the QR code like the one you see above, or create abbreviated web addresses using a free service like tinyurl or Bitly. If you use a scanning app from your smartphone, such as Red Laser, which is free, you can scan the QR code above and it'll take you to a QR code generator online where you can begin creating your own QR codes. If you've used some video files or screen capture, it's probably a good idea to compress the media before saving, even if you're not going to save it as a movie file. This just makes the overall size of your file smaller. As you can see from the screen, you simply go to File and Info and click on Compress Media, and it will quickly run through your screen, assess whether you have media files, and compress them. Unsupported files are untouched. They'll still be there. And now that you're done compressing, you can go ahead and save your file. To find the movie format, click Save As and go about halfway down the list, and you'll see it says MPEG-4 video. This is also known as an MP4 file. You can create closed captions for your MP4 files that you create using PowerPoint. The way you do that for free is you create a YouTube account, then you upload the video, the MP4 file, to your YouTube account. You can save it as a private video, so it's not open to the public if you don't want your curricular materials open. And then after you save the file, you can indicate that you want closed captions, and they will be done in the language of the recording. They're auto-generated by YouTube, and then YouTube has easy to use editing tools that allow you to correct for misspellings or any sort of speech to text errors. This is important to be because it helps you to really make sure that your learners who have hearing impairments or might be hard of hearing can be included. The one thing you want to make sure is that since the caption will be placed at the bottom of the slide, so try to keep that area as free as possible so your captions will be visible and will not be obstructing graphics or text that you have displayed there. Okay, well that brings us to the end of the guide on using some familiar tools to create self-directed learning and pre-session materials for your students. If you have any questions, please use the contact information on the screen in front of you, and I'll be happy to work with you either one-on-one or in small groups or with an entire block of faculty. All right, best of luck.